Hello everyone, welcome to Trail Tracker and another bike test day. Not just any test ride though, it's the long overdue Cannondale Habit Rapid Review. Now, let's start by talking about climbing. I have to say, this Bosch motor is still excellent. This bike has got plenty of power to push you up even the steepest of climbs. Having said that, I was still really impressed with the balanced feel of the bike. Yeah, it's a good amount of traction. Got a really central position over the bike. Don't have this feeling that the front wheel's going to lift too much. On the descents, the Habit Neo is a very forgiving ride. Definitely not the best conditions for it. Whoa, just held it together. I felt completely at home on the bike right from that very first descent. This bike feels all right. It's definitely got a nice balance. And if I didn't know better, I would have said that it had more than just 140 millimeters of travel. The only one big criticism I would have about the bike in this area is that the 130 millimeter drop post is too short. Oh, that saddle is still in the way though. So if I was going to buy this bike, that is definitely the first thing that I would be changing. This bike comes shod with Maxi's Recon tyres. Now, if I'm honest, I would probably prefer something a little bit burlier for an e-bike like this. Having said that though, I was pleasantly surprised by the traction in the mud, even if they did start to reach their limit when we got into some of the rootier stuff. It's a RockShox suspension package with a Select Deluxe out back and a Gold 35 RL fork up front. I found it pretty easy to find a good working setup, ultimately settling on 30% sag at the back and using the tuning recommendations that I found on the RockShox website for the fork. For an entry-level suspension package, I have to say it performed really well on this bike, and it only started to get a little bit out of shape in places where there were repeated hard hits. The Magura MT30 brakes on this bike have huge amounts of stopping power. Oh, you can feel them really bite. Let's be a bit careful. We'll be locking that front wheel up. Now, I know some people might say that they're a little bit too grabby, but I actually like that about them, and ultimately, I guess that's just personal preference. Just like the other videos, there are some viewer questions. The first one comes from Christoph at CKMTB, and he wants to know what I think the bike's like for jumps and drops. Fortunately, trails I tested the bike on only had some mini little drops. Little drop. Having said that, the general feeling I got from the bike would suggest to me that there are unlikely to be any nasty surprises when it comes to hitting some big ones. Hans wants to know whether the bike would be better on flow trails or in technical terrain. I'll be honest with you, it's a good all-rounder and I think it would work really well in both of those situations. And the final question comes from the viewer whose name shall remain unmentioned about sizing. Now, I rode an XL bike and that was just about perfect for my 1 meter 87 centimeter frame. So this is probably a bike that I would choose not to size down on. I think this is a good looking bike. I really like the colour and the finish is excellent, which I guess you should be able to expect from a reputable brand like Cannondale. It's a really good all-rounder that's still capable enough of handling some pretty spicy terrain, and if you're looking for a project that you could perhaps upgrade in the future, you could be sure that you're starting off with a bike that at its heart is a really solid platform to build upon. That's it for the Cannondale Habit Neo 3. But before I finally get around to comparing all the bikes I've been testing over the last year, I have one more surprise contender to throw into the ring. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you like the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks for coming along, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.